On today's show, the amazing way a Canadian international superstar gives back in the community, and how a local man gives back thousands of miles away from home. This is one we're calling Paying It Forward and Giving Back. Hello, and welcome you watching The Ledge. I'm your host, Lola Acala. So glad that you could join us in another episode of our show. This is a theme that we're calling Paying It Forward and Giving Back. And we have a great show lineup for you today, so let's get right to it. My first guests are a school and an organization right here in Vancouver that's changing and redirecting the lives of underserved and at-risk youths in our community through music education at no cost to these students. It is an organization that was founded by our very own local award-winning singer-songwriter, Sarah McLachlan. So let's take a look at my visit to the Sarah School of Music. Sarah McLachlan is one of the most famous Canadian artists out there on the international music scene, inspiring so many with her brand of music. But probably not many to know that right here at home in Vancouver, she's also using that platform to make an incredible difference in the lives of young kids and at-risk youths in our community. And so today, we take you inside the Sarah McLachlan School of Music. And joining us is the Executive Director of the Sarah McLachlan School of Music, Rob Appleton. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
Now, what was Sarah's vision when she started this program?
Well, when Sarah grew up, she was sort of an outcast and she was bullied at times. And the one thing that she had that kept her a strong foundation was her music. And she found her place with that music, and that was a very great comfort and solace to her. So when she had success in her professional life, she was determined to help other young people with the same kind of activity.
So tell us a little bit about the teaching model.
At the Sarah McLachlan School of Music, we focus on a group lesson teaching model. So every student, a piano student, guitar student, they're all in a classroom with other students. So we have 8 guitar students at a time, 13 piano students at a time. They're all learning together, and then they will have an individual private lesson with the instructor at a different time. So as a group, they work on pieces together, and then individually they can work on improving their skills or trying something new that they'd like to try on that instrument.
And about how many kids come through the door each year?
Well, this year we're growing every year about 20%. So this year we have 369 kids in our on-site program, and we see over 200 kids in our outreach program.
And what is the entrance criteria?
To get into the school, you have to have social economic barriers to accessing music programming. And so you have to be vulnerable in one of 3 ways, is socially, emotionally, or academically. And you also have to live in the city of Vancouver for this site.
Now, with some of the kids who come through the door considered at-risk kids, especially if left to hang out on the streets, is there some sort of assessment that happens, as a way to sort of, assess what their risks and their needs are when they come in?
Well, we assess the child and the student before they become a SOM student. So as part of our application process, we have an outside reference who helps assist us rate them on a scale in terms of their at-risk, level of at-risk that they're at. Once they're in the school, they're a SOM student. So even if their family situation changes over time, we continue to have them come to the school.
And is there also some kind of ongoing rehabilitation and counseling that they go through, or is that no longer necessary once they're in here?
Well, although our instructors are all musicians and musical educators, they all have a great depth of experience dealing with kids. And so their lessons are not, I won't say counseling sessions because we're not clinical counselors, but if they identify a problem with the child, we contact the school and we talk to the counselor or the appropriate guardian.
And there's no doubt that children learn in so many different ways. What are some of the challenges that you come upon with some of the kids?
We have kids with autism. We have attention deficit disorder. It becomes it's the instructors can identify this. Part of our assessment is we identify which kids will need a little more support. And by support internally, I mean we have an assistant in every class. And often that assistant will spend more time with those kids that are more challenged in terms of learning music.
So tell us about some of the success stories of some of the kids that have come through the door.
Well, although our intent isn't to create, professional musicians, we have one student who's at the Berklee College of Music in Boston right now. We have 2 others this year graduating who are accepted to Berklee for next September, and they're just milling their options in terms of what they'll do. The graduating class this year, we've got kids going to McGill, UBC, SFU, Vancouver College, Douglas College, so we're really proud of all our graduates. They've shown a real perseverance in often the 8 years they've been within our program, and that's held them really well in terms of their schooling.
Now, there's no doubt with Sarah's connections in the music industry, I'm sure, no doubt, that you've seen a lot of incredible artists come through the doors, here to try to inspire some of the kids. If you could share with us, who are some of the people that have come through the door?
Well, I think I'll talk about this year, the experience I've had. We had Mother in, and they did a session with the group. We had Pugs and Crows, which is a local group as well. We've had a number of other local groups come in and just work with the kids. For our Barefoot in Edmonton, we had Chris Hatfield, and Bare Naked Ladies was there. I'm going blank. Jan Arden was there, and a number of Katie Lang, I believe, was there as well. So they've got exposure to people that they normally wouldn't meet in their life. We did the national anthem at the Heritage Classic, so they sang in front of 50,000 people. And tonight it was a vocal ensemble, so they had a nice chance to perform.
You were witness to some incredible performances this evening. What were we seeing? What were the performances about?
Well, we usually do a year-end performance for all the classes. So every single class does one song, but our vocal ensemble and our vocal choir director, Don Pemberton, wanted to do a longer set. So tonight was a vocal ensemble and vocal choir only concert. So the ensemble did about 6 songs and the choir did about 10 songs. So they've been working on all these songs, but year end they get one song to do. So all 60 students come out and do one song, and there's so many different classes that are performing at our year end concerts that we don't have time to let them do more than one song. So it was a great chance for them to do a longer set.
guys have an amazing program here and so much to be proud of. Now, how often does Sarah come through to visit the kids?
She's a regular visitor. You know, she's been very busy this year with the
Yes.
album and all her other commitments. She usually attends most of the concerts that we have on site, and she'll pop in just randomly. Just to, you know, it's a good buzz for the students. They're not expecting her, and suddenly Sarah McLachlan's standing there, and you know, she's very warm-hearted, and you know, she knows a lot of the students, but she's performed with a lot of them over time.
We wish her the very best, and please send her our love. Rob Appleton, Executive Director of the Sarah McLachlan School of Music, thank you so much for having us. It's been an incredible evening. And how cool was that? You know, it was such a joy for me to see how well these students are doing and taking advantage of the opportunity that is before them. I mean, where in our world today does anyone get a free education? Each student goes in for a year, and when they come out with the tools and the discipline that they'll need to help them navigate the next phase of their future. And whether or not they go into a music career or otherwise, the tools and the discipline learned will no doubt help to serve them for time to come. I've always said that, you know, it is always wonderfully great and inspiring for me to see people like Sarah McLachlan really doing their part to try to make our world a better place. As we all know, there are no angels that fall from the sky. We are the ones who have been put here with the choice and the power to heed the call of our fellow man and ultimately become the earth angels that they'll need. For more on how you or someone you know can qualify for this program, or if you just want to help them out with donations by donating instruments or monetary funds, please go to their website, www.sarahschoolofmusic. Up next, I'm going to introduce you to another incredible organization right here on our lower mainland that's doing incredible things in the lives of the people of Uganda by alleviating poverty by teaching them trade skills. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
We are kids.
Wish kids.
10,000 kids.
We are brave.
We are strong.
We are fighters.
Some days are good, some days are bad.
Some of us make it.
Some of us don't.
My wish will make me strong.
The Children's Wish Foundation of Canada.
Does a wish make a difference?
You bet.
You bet.
Imagine the difference a wish can make.
Only 2 more needles till my wish.
Please give today.
Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching The Ledge, and today we're talking paying it forward and giving back. My next guest is the founder of a non-profit organization called Duncan Africa. Duncan Africa is an organization that is in the Uganda changing lives by teaching the people guitar making skills. And with me in the studio now is the founder, Jay Duncan.
Hello, Lola.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, not too bad at all. It's so great to have you here.
Well, thank you for having us.
Indeed. Well, I think it's really funny how it was just a year ago that, you know, I was in a cafe, you know, having a business meeting, and you were there, you know, just sitting next to us with your incredible guitar. And, you know, my curious self had to find out what is Duncan Africa. So good to have you here.
Well, thank you very much.
So tell us, what is Duncan Africa?
Well, officially, Duncan Africa is a registered charity in Canada that operates a trade school in Uganda, where we teach guitar building. We also teach some math and English, even computer skills.
I'm Simon Adiaka, and I am a shop manager, Sweet Face School, Duncan Africa.
Duncan actually looks out in the community for boys who would have been otherwise destitute, because some have dropped out of school, lack of school fees, as I said earlier. Others are orphaned. Others didn't have chance to go to schools. We want them to acquire skills, technical skills like guitar making.
Duncan Africa started in, I remember it was 2008, with two people. That was the late Mwesige David and Isaac. I came to know David 2007. He was a carpenter, and for me I was a mechanic. So he taught me about carpentry. To 8, he told me that there's a white man from Canada who came to Uganda that they want to open a guitar workshop here in Mpigi. He was very happy and excited about that, and he was among the first students who was to be registered. But the passing of David, it was August of 2012. It was found that the lung was damaged by cancer. You know, if I talk, I feel so hard about him. But let me leave that one.
Duncan Africa has been a blessing to our youth here in Mpigi. It has provided a job for the youth here, because many youth have been going without employment.
I didn't go far with my education, so I was just stuck because I was just doing any work I could find. So coming here, I'm just like I'm born again. Yeah, and I think I'm now facing a bright direction.
I'm just one girl in street trade school. Yes, Duncan Africa helps me in the way that helps me to get a job, to get some money, because we have some needs in our lives.
People feel so surprised. They don't think that a person can make a guitar within Africa. They are surprised by the skills that students normally get and what comes out as a result.
And as we are proposing for the vacation, we shall have other trades, because others may not be comfortable with guitars, you see. They may now have a choice. When they acquire the skills, they can be able to employ themselves.
So that's a bit about what we do.
It is such a great organization. What compelled you to start that organization, and why guitar, and why Uganda?
The guitars is because that's who I am and what I do. I'm a guitar builder, and I'm good at it. I was looking for a change in my life. I wanted to do some giving back, as it were.
Very much so. So important.
Yeah, and I always had a thing for Africa. And through some different relationships, ended up going to Uganda to see if the idea behind Duncan Africa was viable, and it appeared that it could work there. So, in 2007, we started with our first 2 guys and did a pilot project, and that went very well.
Wow.
And we went from there, and today we have maybe 16 guys. We're looking to grow that this year.
And it cannot be an easy feat, you know, having to do something like that. Tell us a little bit about the process from, you know, the production process to the end product, and then trying to get it out here to Canada. That can't be easy. Tell us a bit about that process.
No, it's a lengthy process. Even just building a guitar is a long, lengthy process. We do a lot of shipping back and forth. With supplies. So we send tops for the guitars actually here from the West Coast, because we have some of the best in the world. But we pair that with woods from around the world, including about 4 species from Uganda itself. We we buy ebony there, as well as mahogany, and something called mugavu, which is beautiful. Yeah.
So it's a school where, you know, local Ugandans can go to and learn these skills and essentially be able to sustain themselves for, you know, for time to come, and even teach themselves these skills.
Yes, actually the long-term vision for Duncan Africa is that our students are actually, once there's about 30 of them, they can legally form a co-op. Wow. And so what we're going to help them do is actually to form their own manufacturing company. And the goal is that in the long run, they'll be able to compete like on a global scale with industry leaders.
Indeed, very much so.
And in doing that, they'll be, you know, feeding their families. They'll be bringing a certain degree of wealth into their town where they live.
Indeed.
And it will be a truly sustainable
Well, it's the idea to
operation.
teach a man to fish, and then he'll be able to feed himself for generations to come as well.
Absolutely.
Now, the manufacturing process, you know, or the distributing process, should I say?
Yeah.
Once it gets here to Canada, now, is it a case where you already have set distributors that you've been working with for time, or do you tend to, you know, switch distributors as, you know, the market goes? How does that work?
Well, the internet has actually changed guitar sales.
Indeed.
And so where we're at actually is we sell direct
And online.
and
sort of,
online
you know, wonderful.
to people all over the world, and we're back ordered. Today we're back ordered by 53 guitars,
Cool.
which is quite a back order list for
Wow.
a small operation like us. And so we're actually looking to increase the production of the school by adding more students and more machinery, et cetera.
Wow.
In order to ramp up our production, which will in turn create a greater impact in the community.
That is so cool. That is so very cool. You know, to look at, you know, what's going on in Africa today, you would assume that, you know, with all the people who try to do things, you know, there still is so much that still needs to be done, because there seems to be no growth and no progress seen. And I think people like you in the grassroots who are doing incredible things, but to also compare to international companies who go out to these places looking to, you know, manufacture goods, but a lot of the times they go there to exploit the labor and in turn expect these people to live on really next to nothing, you know, and I think rather than be the solution, some of these international companies really are the problems. And when we have, you know, companies and small grassroots, you know, people like you who are make an effort, I think that's what we need to see more of, indeed.
Yeah.
Now, you guys had a concert recently.
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about that and what that was in aid of.
Sure. Well, we had a concert where we had a bunch of our endorsers, some of them internationally known. I think 3 of them were Juno Award winners, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And they all came out for a night in support of the school.
Cool.
They all play the guitars.
Wonderful.
And it went rather well.
Wow.
We raised a bunch of money, and it's basically going to help the school to reach the next level.
You have a guitar here?
Would you like to
I
see?
would love indeed, I'd love to see that.
Absolutely. This is a guitar that arrived from Africa a few weeks back.
Wow.
This
Such
is our
a great quality.
This is our entry-level instrument. Retails for just under $1,000. And basically this one is all Africa materials.
Okay.
So the top, back,
The
sides,
wood,
everything,
the
all the
whole-
woods are all Africa. Ebony from Cameroon or Uganda sometimes. Mahogany.
Wow.
And
It
it
looks
just
incredible.
They've done beautiful work.
It looks absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
You know, it's what I saw the other day, and I just couldn't keep my eyes off of it.
Yeah. And when they do arrive here, we actually we invest quite a bit in going over them and making sure that they're cosmetically and aesthetically and tonally as great as they can be, so that when they go out, they're quite something for an artist to play with.
Well, Jay, you know, it's people like you doing incredible work out there, you know, trying to make our world a better place, and we commend you and the work that you're doing, and, you know, may you continue to be able to do more. Jay Duncan, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you very much for having us.
If you'd like to know more about the work that Jay Duncan does and the Duncan Foundation, please go to their website, duncanafrica.org. TheLedgeTVMedia.com. We'll be right back.
Today's generation of young people spend the least amount of time outside of any generation in human history. We need to have children out, we need to have people out in order to see the world around that allows us to live. I think something like the Sea to Sky Trail is the epitome of what we need to get people back out into the real world, to see nature as it can be, and something that we are a part of and that we must fight to protect.
Hello, welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching The Legend. We're just wrapping things up today on our Pay It Forward and Giving Back. You know, today's episode is so very important to me because I've always been a believer in the notion that we as a humanity are all connected, whether with those right here in our community or those abroad. For me, there is no such things as distant people. We are a global community. And wherever we see something wrong happening to a people or we see human suffering, we have a duty to speak up about it, to act upon it, and reach out to the humanity of our fellow man. Our world will never get better by us doing nothing or taking the "it doesn't affect me" approach, because we only have to look at world news every day to see that it does, and it will affect us all at some point. So I urge you, it is important that each and every one of us do our part to try to make our world a better place, not just for those we know and love, but for those we don't know who don't have the same opportunities as us. It is the very core of what it means for us to act on our moral compass. To use one of my favorite quotes, which says, "What we do for ourselves dies with us. What we do for others and our world remains and is immortal." That's what's going to live forever and ultimately become our legacy. And so the question that remains for us to ask ourselves each day is, who do I want to be and what do I want my contribution to be? And so I urge you, please always remember the humanity of your fellow man, and let us always remember to pay it forward and give back. Well, that's our show. I'd like to thank all my guests, Rob Appleton, and all the folks at Sarah School of Music. Thank you so much for having me, Jay Duncan, and all of you out there who are doing your part to try to make our world a better place. We thank you, and may you continue to be blessed in all you do. And you at home, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comment about this show or any other episode, please go to our website, www.TheLedgeTVShow.com, or you can tweet me at Lola Acala. Until next time, guys, take care of one another, and we'll see you soon.
Before you know it, it's only a matter of time. It's right before you. Don't give up. Know, truly know, God has done nothing wrong. It all becomes so clear.